Welcome back to another enriching session in our ongoing journey through the metaphysical world of John Donne. In our previous class, we immersed ourselves in the bold sensuality and layered meanings of To His Mistress Going to Bed. Today, we shift gears and step into a more mysterious and spiritual dimension of Donne's poetry with the Relic. So, this poem invites us to reflect deeply on love that transcends time, death, and even physical presence. We will explore its historical context, themes of sacred and profane love, the fusion of the erotic and the eternal, and dissect Donne's clever use of paradox, irony, and metaphysical conceit. Together, we will move line by line, uncovering hidden meanings and symbolic layers embedded in the poem. So, let us begin this intellectual and poetic adventure with open minds and thoughtful hearts. So, The Relic was written by John Donne during 17th century, a time of significant religious and social changes in England. It was a period marked by the Elizabethan era's shift into the Jacobean period, characterized by deep religious exploration, debates about the nature of faith, and a growing tension between Protestant and Catholic ideologies. John Donne, a man of many contradictions, himself underwent a significant transformation in his life, both spiritually and intellectually. Initially, Donne was known for his sensual and often controversial poetry, but later he became an Anglican priest, which shifted the themes of his work towards spiritual reflections. So, The Relic is one of Donne's more spiritual reflective poems written at the time when he was deeply interested in the metaphysical aspects of love, death, and afterlife. So, the poem is a thought to have been written of his mistress. Yet, as with much of his poetry, it blurs the lines between physical love and a more profound spiritual connection. It also draws upon his Catholic background, referencing the practice of relic veneration, a tradition that involves the physical remains or belongings of saints being revered as objects of devotion. So, this poem, The Relic, blends the theme of death, love, and immortality, right? And religion. So, all within the context of metaphysical poetry. This genre, with its characteristic intellectual rigor, complexity, and dramatic tone, is well suited to Donne's exploration of the relationship between the moral and eternal. The relic in the poem serves as a symbol of the immortality of love. Actually, relic का मतलब होता है the remains of the dead body, and the relic refers to the pure remains, right? So, the relic in the poem serves as a symbol of immortality of love, transcending the physical realm and continuing to exist beyond the death of the lovers. So, the relic refers to the pure remains of the lovers, right? So, if we talk about the themes of the poem are love and death. So the poem explores the connection between love and death, where love survives beyond the death. Love survives beyond the death and even transcends physical remains. The next theme is relics and immortality. So the idea of relics is central to the poem, right? And it represents not just the physical remnants but also the spiritual immortality of love. So the relic represents the immortality of love, the spiritual immortality of love, and the idea that love once formed, it never dies, right? So the third theme is sacred and profane. So the poem engages with the notion of sacred love, where earthly or physical love is elevated to something spiritual or divine. This contrasts with the more sensual and earthly expressions of love seen in his earlier poems, right? So, fourth theme is transformation of the self. So, the speaker in the poem reflects on the transformation of their love, seeing it evolve from a passionate physical relationship to something which is deeper and eternal, right? The last theme of the poem is metaphysical conceit. So, as in many of Donne's poems, there is there is an intricate use of metaphysical conceit, where he makes unexpected comparisons between seemingly unrelated things like the physical body and relics to explore abstract ideas, right? So let's go through John Donne's poem The Relic line by line to understand the deeper meanings, the themes, and the literary devices used in the poem. So, this is a love poem. ये एक love poem है. And there are 3 stanzas, and each stanza contains 11 lines. The rhyming scheme of this poem is A B B C D D C E E E. This is the rhyming scheme. इसको आप पढ़ेंगे तो आपको पता चल जाएगा. जैसे when my grave is broke up again, this is A. Some second guess to entertain, again and again similar sound वाले word है, rhyming words हैं, तो ये भी A. For graves have learned that women head, ये B हो गया, head. To be more than one a bed, head और bed rhyming words हैं, ये भी B. And he that digs it spies, ये तीसरा हो गया. A bracelet of bright hair about the bone, ये D हो गया क्योंकि ये बिल्कुल डिफरेंट हो गया ना बाकी सारे वर्ड से. Will he not let us alone, तो ये बोन था, इसी के जैसा ये सिमिलर है अलोन, तो ये भी डी हो गया. अब एंड थिंक दैट देयर अ लविंग कपल लाइज, ये यहाँ पे स्पाइस था, स्पाइस से मिलता जुलता है लाइज, तो ये भी सी हो जाएगा. हु थॉट दैट दिस डिवाइस माइट बी सम वे, ये ई हो जाएगा क्योंकि वे बिल्कुल नया वर्ड है यहाँ पर. टू मेक देयर सोल एट लास्ट द लास्ट बिजी डे, वे एंड डे दे आर सिमिलर, सो ये भी ई हो जाएगा. मीट एट दिस ग्रेव मेक अ लिटिल स्टे, ये भी ई हो जाएगा. तो ये हो गया यहाँ पर राइमिंग स्कीम. ए बी बी सी डी डी सी एंड ई. तो ये यहाँ पर फॉलो हो गया. बाकी 2 स्टेंजा में भी ऐसे ही हो जाएगा. आप कर सकते हैं खुद से भी, बहुत इजी है ये. सो लेट्स रीड द पोएम. When my grave is broken up again, so here when my grave is broke up again, यहाँ broke का मतलब है dig. ये कह रहा है कि मेरी जो ग्रेव है उसको फिर से डिग किया गया है, उसको फिर से खोदा गया है. So the speaker begins by imagining a future time when his grave will be opened again. So broke मतलब open भी कह सकते हो आप यहाँ पर, कि इस जब इसकी ब्रोक को फ्यूचर टाइम में फिर से ओपन किया जाएगा तब. So it refers to the resurrection of the re-emergence of his body, indicating that he is reflected on the eternity of his soul after, even after his death. So पहली लाइन का यही मतलब है, when actually the speaker begins by imagining a future time when his grave will be opened again, right? Some second guest to entertain. तो यहाँ पर the speaker envision someone else, बोला ना second guest, because the speaker is the first guest in the grave. तो जो दोबारा उसको dig up किया जाएगा तो जो दूसरी बॉडी उसमें दफनाई जाएगी वो सेकंड होगी. तो some second guest to entertain. So the speaker envisions someone else as second guest coming into his grave, implying that the grave will serve a new purpose and hosting a new person. So this suggests the idea of life after death and cyclical nature of life, right? The third line, for graves have learned that womanhood. So here Donne makes a witty and slightly dark comment that womanhood, ये जो है womanhood, it refers to a woman headstone, and he suggests that graves have learned that one person, maybe a woman in this case, might belong to more than one person in death, right? Like being in more than one bed. जैसे ग्रेव में दोनों साथ में रहेंगे, ये खुद मेल है, मैन है, और जो दूसरी बॉडी मे बी एक वुमन की हो सकती है. तो इट विल बी वेरी सिमिलर टू लाइक अ मैन एंड अ वुमन इन अ सेम बेड, राइट? तो यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा इसका विट दिखता है, डन का विट यहाँ पर दिखता है. सो इट माइट बिलोंग टू मोर देन वन पर्सन इन डेथ and like being more than in one bed. So this is a metaphor for sexual and emotional relationships that can transcend even death, as grave might host another lover, right? So to be more than one a bed, it means the grave will have one another person, so it might belong to more than one person in death. ठीक है, like a being in more than one bed. ठीक है. Now the next line is, and he digs it, spies a bracelet of bright hair about the bone. So when the grave is opened, the grave digger might find a bracelet, right? And bracelet of what? A bracelet of brighter hair. ठीक है. Intertwined with a bone, about the bone है ना, मतलब वो ब्रेसलेट भी जो ब्राइट हेयर्स का है वो intertwined होगा with a bone. So this suggests a deep and intimate connection between the couple, symbolized by the hair that encircles the bone. The bracelet of hair might be a relic that the couple left behind to indicate the spiritual connection they had in their lives. The next lines are, will he not let us alone and think that there a loving couple lies? ठीक है. So the speaker wonders if the grave digger, upon finding the relic, which is the bracelet of hair, will assume that the couple buried together in this grave were deeply in love. The relic is meant to suggest a bond of love that existed between them, which the grave digger might misinterpret as their eternal love, right? Now the next lines are, who thought that this device might be some way to make their souls at the last busy day meet at this grave and make a little stay. So the speaker imagines through these three lines that the couple might have left the relic as a way of ensuring that their souls would meet again at the grave during resurrection. The last busy day here, the last busy day refers to the day of judgment when all souls are resurrected. So the couple might have hoped that this relic would be a physical manifestation of their eternal union even after death, right? Now the second stanza is, if this fall in a time or land where misdevotion doth command. So here done refers to possibility of the grave being unearthed in a place or time where misguided religious devotion is prevalent, right? So he suggests that if the grave is discovered in such a context, the couple's remains might be treated as a sacred relics by society, right? Next lines are, then he that digs us up will bring us to the bishop and the king. So if the grave is dug up in such a place, the grave digger will bring the couple's remains to the bishop and the king. This implies that the relics of saint or lovers could become object of worship or admiration by society. So here he refers his relics to the relics of saints. ठीक है. Now the next lines are, to make us relics, then thou shalt be a Mary Magdalene and I a something else thereby. So the couple's remain would be treated as relics, and relics are the sacred objects. So he wants to say that their remains, their remains would be treated as relics, the sacred objects, right? So the speaker imagines that women will be treated as Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene एक सिंबल है स्पिरिचुअल प्योरिटी का, डिवोशन का, और जो लेडी की जो रेलिक्स होंगी उसको तो मैरी मैगडलेन का सिंबल बना दिया है. एंड ही विल बी समथिंग एल्स, लाइकली अ सिंबल ऑफ सेंटहुड. वो अपने लिए भी कुछ, उसने नाम नहीं दिया, बट वो अपने लिए भी सेंटहुड का ही सिंबल दे रहा है. He suggests that their love transcends human limitation and will be venerated as divine. So the speaker is expecting that जो उनका प्यार है that transcend human limitations and will be venerated as divine, right? Now the next lines are, all women shall adore us and some men. So Donne actually imagines that the love between the couple will become so revered that both women and some men will adore them, because their relics will be considered as some sacred objects, right? तो जो भी लव जो कपल होंगे जिनके बीच में लव होगा वो इनको एडोर करेंगे, ठीक है, इन दोनों को एडोर करेंगे. सो दिस सजेस्ट द प्योर स्पिरिचुअल लव दे शेयर्ड विल बी आइडियलाइज्ड बाय अदर्स, especially in a religious context after their deaths. ठीक है. Now the next lines are, and since at such time miracles are sought, I would have that age by this paper taught. What miracles we harmless lover wrought. So in an age when miracles are highly sought after, तो स्पीकर यहाँ होप कर रहा है कि इनकी जो लव स्टोरी है उसको याद किया जाएगा एज अ मिरेकल ऑफ इट्स ओन. सो द कपल्स लव वॉज प्योर, अनटेंटेड एंड विदाउट एनी हार्म. बोल रहे हैं ना, हार्मलेस है ये इनका प्यार, इसमें मिरेकल है, ठीक है. सो विदाउट एनी हार्म है टू अदर्स, सो मेकिंग इट अ miraculous act. और जो ये बोला ना कि I would have that age by this paper, the paper refers to the poem which the speaker hopes will be record for their miracle of love. तो ये मिरेकल जो होगा, मतलब उनकी जो ये दोबारा से जब ये ओपन होगी ग्रेव और इनके रेलिक्स मिलेंगे, लोग इनको एडोर करेंगे, इनको वर्शिप करेंगे, इनके लिए कविताएं लिखेंगे पेपर में, शायद यही कविता पेपर पर आएगी, और मतलब ये लोगों को सिखाएंगे ना कि जो हमारा जो प्यार था वो बहुत ही प्योर था, राइट. नाउ द नेक्स्ट लाइन्स आर, First we loved well and faithfully, yet knew not we what we loved nor why. So the speaker reflects on the fact that their love was deep and faithful. Well है ना ये, first we loved well. Well कितनी ज़्यादा deep होती है, तो इनका प्यार भी उतना ही deep है and faithful है, but they didn't know the full extent of what they were loving and nor the reasons behind it, right? So this speaks to a pure, innocent love that existed without intellectual or conscious understanding, akin to a divine love. Next lines are, difference of sex no more we knew. मतलब ये नहीं जानते कोई डिफरेंस, जेंडर डिफरेंस ऑफ सेक्स ना, जो जेंडर का डिफरेंस है वो नहीं जानते हैं. देन आर गार्जियन एंजल्स टू, सो द कपल्स लव ट्रांसेंड फिजिकल differences between them, which is gender or sex. They were united actually, क्योंकि वो लोग तो यूनाइटेड हो गए ना, इसलिए फ़र्क नहीं है अब मेल फीमेल का दोनों में, बिकॉज दे वर यूनाइटेड ऑन अ स्पिरिचुअल लेवल, मच लाइक हाउ गार्जियन एंजल्स डू नॉट फोकस ऑन फिजिकल फॉर्म्स बट ऑन स्पिरिचुअल कनेक्शंस. मतलब ये है कि जो गार्जियन एंजल्स है ना, वो उनकी फिजिकल फॉर्म पर फोकस नहीं करेंगे कि कौन सा रेलिक मेल का है या कौन सा रेलिक फीमेल का है, बट वो किस पर करेगी फोकस, वो स्पिरिचुअल कनेक्शन पे करेंगी. सो देयर लव इज़ सो प्योर एंड बियॉन्ड अर्थली डिस्टिंक्शंस. नाउ द नेक्स्ट लाइन्स आर, कमिंग एंड गोइंग वी perchance might kiss but not between those meals. So these lines suggest the innocence of their love. The speaker alludes to the moments of affection like kissing. ये affection का scene है ये, ठीक है, moment है मतलब affection का, like kissing, but kissing only in innocence and pure circumstances, without the usual physical desire or attraction. So these two lines could imply that the couple's love was not defined by physicality but rather by spiritual connection actually. So it represents their spiritual connection, which is very far, which is beyond to the physicality, right? Now the next lines are, our hands never touch the seals which nature, injured by late law, sets free. So here Dunn suggests that this couple did not engage in physical intimacy or action that society may have expected. तो कह रहे हैं ना कि our hands never touch the seals, तो वो कह रहे हैं कि एक तरह की सील ही तो है ये, मतलब they didn't engage in any kind of physical intimacy. तो वो एक सील थी, मतलब एक जो टाइप का एक फाउंडेशन था, उसको इन्होंने नहीं तोड़ा है, राइट. सो दिस हैंस प्रूव्ड कि इन्होंने अपनी कोई भी फाउंडेशन जो बाउंड्रीज उसको क्रॉस नहीं किया है. सो दे डिड नॉट एंगेज इन एनी काइंड ऑफ फिजिकल इंटीमेसी. सो आवर हैंड्स नेवर टच द सील्स. इट मीन्स they did not engage in any physicality that society may or maybe the nature may expect it. So the seal refers to the physical and emotional boundaries that nature sets in relationship which the couple chose not to cross. और ये जो है late law, it refers to societal laws and restrictions which they were able to transcend through spiritual love, right? Now the next lines are, these miracles we did, but now alas, all major and all language I should pass. So I should pass मतलब all I know, ठीक है. अलास जो है ना, ये बोल रहा है क्योंकि अब ये सैड है, इसका सैड एक्सप्रेशन को, इसका मतलब सैड नहीं होता है, बट अलास जो इसने बोला है ये स्पीकर का सैड एक्सप्रेशन को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है. सो दीज मिरेकल्स वी डिड बट नाउ अलास. सो द स्पीकर limits that the miracles they performed in their love cannot be fully described or explained. The language of the poem falls short of expressing the depth of their spiritual and प्योर लव. वो कह रहा है कि हमारी ये जो पोएम्स है, जो मिरेकल्स हमने किए, हमने जो परफॉर्म किए अपने लव में, वो तो फुली डिस्क्राइब हो ही नहीं सकते, वो तो कम्प्लीटली एक्सप्लेन हो ही नहीं सकते. मतलब लैंग्वेज काफ़ी इनसफिशिएंट है. किसी भी भाषा में हम अपना प्यार, उसकी प्योरिटी, उसकी इनोसेंस, मतलब जो एक्चुअल डेप्थ है ऑफ देयर लव, इट कांट बी एक्सप्रेस्ड through words here. So the language of the poem falls short of expressing the depth of their spiritual and pure love. So this line actually underscores the inexpressibility of true love. तो कह रहे हैं ना कि शब्दों में तो हम बयां कर ही नहीं सकते कि हमारा प्यार कितना प्योर, कितना डीप, कितना इनोसेंट था, कितना प्योर था. So the last line of the poem is, should I tell what a miracle she was? Finally, the speaker acknowledges that even though they have described the miracles of their love, they cannot truly describe what a miracle the woman was. It means her beauty, purity, and spiritual depth of her being transcend all the words he has used so far. So the speaker contemplates the idea that his love, once buried, will rise again as a miracle, will be revered for his spiritual purity. So the whole poem introduces the ideas of relics, where the couple's love transcends death and is elevated to sainthood after their death. The couple's love is portrayed as innocent and free from physical or earthly desires, instead rooted in spiritual connection. And the speaker emphasizes that their love was a miracle and transcending human understanding and becoming something divine. So this was a detailed explanation of the relic by John Donne, and the poem explores spiritual love and how such a love can transcend death, turning the lovers into sacred relics to be adored by future generations. So today we delve deeply into John Donne's poem The Relic, uncovering the layers of spiritual love, resurrection, and the idea of sacred relics. So through his eloquent use of metaphor, Donne takes us on a journey where love transcends death, becoming eternal and revered. So this poem beautifully portrays the purity and innocence of love that defies earthly boundaries, urging us to look beyond the physical realm and seek connection on a spiritual level. So with this, we come to the end of our discussion on John Donne's selected poems, which are in our syllabus for today. Tomorrow we will shift our focus to previous year question paper, which are we will discuss the previous year questions related to all the poems we have studied so far. We will discuss answer writing strategies and learn how to effectively approach such questions, ensuring that we present insightful and a well structured आंसर्स। तो जितनी भी पोएम्स हमारे सिलेबस में थी यूपीएससी के, 5 पोएम्स आई गेस हमने पढ़ी हैं। जैसे हमारे कोर्स में था द कैननाइजेशन, होली सोनेट्स, डेथ बी नॉट प्राउड, गुड मोरो, एंड द फोर्थ वन इज टू हिज मिस्ट्रेस गोइंग टू द बेड, एंड द फिफ्थ वन इज़ द रेलिक। तो ये हमने 5 पोएम थी जो हमारे सिलेबस में हमने पढ़ी थी। आज ये 5 पोएम्स ख़त्म होती है। सो कल हम आंसर राइटिंग स्ट्रैटेजीज़ पर काम करेंगे, जो प्रीवियसली क्वेश्चन पेपर्स में जो इस टॉपिक से जॉन डन की सिलेक्टेड पोएम से जो क्वेश्चन आए हैं हम उनको पूरा डिस्कस करेंगे। सो आई लुक फॉरवर्ड टू सीइंग यू इन आवर नेक्स्ट क्लास where we'll enhance our exam preparation together. Thank you and good night.